Get ready to see the most unusual and rare historical photos. I will be glad to receive your subscription. A diver after inspecting the interior of the sunken battleship Arizona. The day of the attack on Pearl Harbor, December 7th, 1941. In 1917, 16-year-old Elsie Wright and her 9-year-old cousin, Frances Griffiths, were photographed with the Cottingley Fairies in the village of Cottingley, near Bingley in West Yorkshire. One of the greatest hoaxes of the 20th century. They admitted that the photos were fake only in 1983. In 1910, the steamship Princess May ran aground in Alaska due to thick fog. Despite the fact that there were about 150 people on board, all those on board were not injured. Enos the chimpanzee lies on his couch before boarding the NASA Mercury Atlas V space capsule, in which he will become the first primate to orbit the Earth on November 29, 1961. During World War II, in 1942, a Syrian bear named Wojtek was enlisted in the Polish Second Corps. He was treated like an ordinary soldier with a rank, paybook, and serial number. Here he is sitting in a photo with one of his comrades. A huge octopus balloon rises from the ground at the Barrage Balloon Control Training Center in Camp Tyson, Tennessee, around the time of World War II. German-American farmer John Maines demonstrates the devastating effects of the attack he suffered on August 19, 1918, when locals took him from his home in Luverne, Minnesota, whipped him, then tarred and feathered him. Maines was attacked against the background of anti-German sentiments rooted during the First World War. A man shows off a steel helmet, anti-splinter glasses. Vision is achieved through thin slits in the glasses, and a steel dagger glove made for the British Army during the First World War. James Naismith, the inventor of basketball, holds in his hands the first ball and basket, which were used for the game on an unspecified date before 1939. A soldier sprays a mixture of DDT and kerosene inside an Italian house to fight malaria during World War II, around 1945. A man stands next to a huge vessel used to store wine in Kankakee, Georgia, 1881. Baboon Jack worked on the railway system in South Africa for 9 years at the end of the 19th century and did not make a single mistake. A man poses with a motorcycle equipped with skis to travel through the snow in Curzach, Switzerland during the First World War. Laika, the first living being ever sent into space, is aboard the Soviet spacecraft Sputnik 2, launched from Kazakhstan on November 3, 1957. The ladies of 1929 are showing off their new swimwear with such an extravagant finish that it's hard to believe it's possible. Hebo rides cost only $1 in 1900. I can't believe it was available. You may have talents, but can you rollerblade on one leg and jump at the same time? The year 1929 is an amazing time. I've never seen a deer milked, but here's an illustration. In the photo, the Sami family, northern Norway, the end of the 19th century. They even made cheese from such milk, and as far as I know, they still do. Just an interesting shot. Guitar lessons, Komi Republic, Russia, 1913. American children gathered for school during a dust storm, 1933. Airplane stunts. This is how the audience was entertained in the 1920s. device for teaching swimming, 1930. Queue for sausage in a Kiev store, 1949. The wife did not wait for her husband from the war. It's sad that I couldn't take a photo when the family was together. Foreign diplomats at the Victory Day celebration, 1945. On the first Victory Day, Red Square hosted not only Soviet citizens, but also diplomats from Allied countries. The photo shows the historical moment of the international recognition of the victory over fascism. Girls in bikinis pose at the Carlton Hotel in Cannes, France, 1958. Against the background of the ancient architecture of Cannes, there are symbols of a new revolution. A bikini was still considered a bold choice of clothing. Alain Delon and Romy Schneider backstage at the Théâtre de Paris, 1961. Icons of European cinema who were not only colleagues, but also lovers. The photo is filled with romance and theatrical atmosphere. The terrible earthquake in Northridge, 1994. One of the most devastating earthquakes in California's history. More than 60,000 buildings were damaged. Isabelle Boyer, French, 36 years old. In 1878, she was the model for the Statue of Liberty. Her features have become a symbol of freedom for millions. Few people know that the statue is a portrait of a real woman. 19-year-old Princess Diana, Prince Charles, and Queen Elizabeth II, 1980, young Diana, is at the very beginning of a journey that will forever change her life and the history of the British monarchy. Penguins listen to a gramophone. The Shackleton Expedition, 1908. The legendary explorer and his team did everything they could not to get bored in Antarctica. They even arranged concerts for penguins. The advertising company of the brand Dolce & Gabbana, 1987. A provocative advertisement that caused a wave of criticism and discussion. A frame balancing between fashion, art, and a challenge to traditional values. For 1987, it was a bold statement about both the brand and the spirit of the era. Albert Einstein with his sister, Maya Einstein, in New York in 1939. Yeah, apparently, crazy hair was their family thing. Not only did they look alike, but they also had the same hairstyles. The creator of the birchbark uniform, Juho Pietarinpoika, Lankila, from Kalajoki in his clothes in Oulu in 1878. The photo is kept in the museum department of Finland. Relna Brewer was not only an acrobat, but also one of the first female bodybuilders. She often performed with another legendary athlete, Abby "Pudgy" Stockton. And this is an unusual lounge at Willow Run Airport, Michigan, 1958. The architects of this futuristic lobby are Albert Kahn and Minoru Yamasaki. I wonder if this airport looks the same now. Or has everything already been changed? Now it seems that this is absolutely normal. Girls in shorts. Don't forget that the photo is from the 1950s. Even bikinis on the beach were worn only by the bravest girls or stars. Therefore, a picture of girls in shorts was even posted in Life magazine. Snake Man, an acrobat who entertains his fellow French soldiers by performing seemingly impossible contortions. Paris, September, 1915. Circus entertainment in France during the First World War. Sophia Loren serves pasta during the production of Chochara, 1960. Piccadilly line in the London Underground. under construction under existing tram tracks, 1906. Spanish archaeologist Manuel Esteve and the Corinthian helmet he found in 1938. Giving vodka salaries to teachers in front of the Pedagogical Council, Russia, 1997. In the 90s, the economic crisis in Russia led to salary delays, and sometimes to the issue of natural products, including alcohol. This picture has become a symbol of a difficult time. A policeman covers his ears at a Beatles concert, USA, 1964. When the Liverpool Four performed in America, their concerts were accompanied by such deafening screeching from fans that even the law enforcement officers could not stand the volume of what was happening. Extraction of a baby mammoth from permafrost Siberia, 1977. A rare moment of archaeological excavations when scientists managed to discover an almost completely preserved baby mammoth that had lain in the icy ground for thousands of years. Giant Snowman, USSR, 1966. This giant snowman was built by children and adults during one of the snowiest winters in the history of the USSR. Real art, made of snow. Earthquake in San Francisco, 1906. The disaster that claimed thousands of lives changed the face of the city forever. This image captures the scale of the destruction and chaos that reigned after the tragedy. Arguably, the Argentavis is the largest bird that has ever lived on Earth. Reconstruction of an ancient giant bird whose wingspan could reach 7 meters. Imagine if such creatures still lived among us. Football players on Sofiyskaya Embankment, Moscow, 1958. A rare shot of children playing soccer against the backdrop of St. Basil's Cathedral. Agatha Christie at home in the 1950s. The queen of the detective is surrounded by her usual comfort, where her legendary novels were created. Marilyn Monroe visits troops in Korea, February 1954. The actress went to the front to support American soldiers by giving a concert in front of them. Pin-up model Bonnie Logan, 1960s. One of the iconic models of her time, Bonnie Logan is depicted in the classic pin-up style, a symbol of female beauty of the 50s and 60s. Italian actress Ornella Muti in the prime of her career. In the 1970s, she was already a star of European cinema, starring in films such as The Taming of the Shrew with Celentano. Her beauty and talent made her one of the most recognizable actresses of her time. The tribal leader visits his son, who serves as a tanker in the USA, 1954. This picture shows 20-year-old Grand Duchess Tatiana Nikolaevna, the second daughter of Nicholas II. She doesn't just pose, but actually works as a surgical nurse at the Tsarskoye Selo Palace Infirmary number. Moondram. The first cycling Tour de France, 1903. Of the 60 participants, only 21 reached the finish line. The race lasted 19 days and included 6 stages with a total length of 2,428 kilometers, which is almost the distance from Moscow to Paris. The cyclists rode heavy iron bicycles without shifting gears. The stages sometimes lasted for 400 kilometers, and the athletes pedaled at night, guided by the light of the lanterns. There were no mechanics. They had to repair punctures or broken chains themselves. They ate in roadside inns and slept wherever they had to, in barns or right under trees. The winner was Maurice Garin, who beat his rivals by almost 3 hours. His prize of 3,000 francs turned out to be a dubious reward. After the race, he was treated for exhaustion for a month. The Dunkley Stroller, London, England, 1930. Such a design would seem inconvenient to modern parents, but then it was a maximum of comfort. Tea party on the trampoline by the outdoor pool, Finchley, London, May, 1938. The photo shows a huge nugget of silver weighing 120 tons, discovered in British Columbia in 1892. This nugget has become one of the largest ever found. Its discovery caused a stir among prospectors and investors, drawing attention to the richness of the region's natural resources. The photo shows workers who are paid twice a day due to hyperinflation in Germany. In the 1920s, money depreciated so quickly that people tried to spend it immediately after receiving it. Hyperinflation was the result of the economic crisis after the First World War. People carried money in baskets and carts to buy at least the most basic necessities. The photo shows an unusual device for moving heavy stones, powered by human traction. Instead of an engine or animals, people push a mechanism to move the stone from its place. In the 19th century, such devices were used in construction and agriculture, where there was no access to modern technology. It was hard and exhausting work, but it allowed us to perform tasks that would otherwise have been impossible. The photo shows the bronze heads and the upper part of the figure, discovered in Ife, Nigeria, in 1938. These artifacts, dating back to the 14th to 15th centuries, amazed the world with their realism and craftsmanship. Prior to this discovery, Western art historians believed that African art was limited to primitive forms. However, the bronze heads from Ife proved that the African craftsmen possessed the highest level of skill. In the 60s, a candidate for the position of flight attendant had to comply with strict rules, meet the external standards set by the airline, be single, and not older than a certain age. Very strict selection, because airlines used beautiful girls to attract customers, and the flight attendants' uniforms were appropriate, bright and short and very fashionable. When short shorts appeared on the catwalks, airlines picked up the trend and changed their employees. Working in the operating room of the calculating machines of the computing division of the U.S. Treasury in 1920. "17-year-old Elizabeth Taylor helps Lassie sign a contract, 1943. Marilyn Monroe was the most famous and recognizable woman in the world, but sometimes she just needed to become someone else for a while. Someone who can go outside and go to the cinema without being harassed by photographers and fans. And then, Marilyn turned into Zelda Zonk. She wore a black wig and used makeup to change the shape of her eyes and lips. Many stars have resorted to such tricks, and Princess Diana also played this game. In the 1940s, parties called evenings for ladies became popular in the United States. At these parties, the ladies could do all the same things that men do in bars: smoke cigars, play cards, order strong drinks, and watch shows. During the Cold War, the Earth witnessed the creation of unprecedented waves. Waves born not of nature, but of atomic weapons. Underwater atomic explosions. In 1946, the United States conducted Operation Crossroads on Bikini Atoll in the Pacific Ocean, detonating 2 atomic bombs under the ocean surface. Wrestler Mildred Burke files her nails while restraining a journalist, 1947. Mildred Burke was born on May 12, 1914 in Newark, New Jersey. She started wrestling in her youth, and in the 1930s moved into professional wrestling, becoming one of the first women to achieve success in this field. Photographers on their way to work. 1912. French actress Mylène Demongeau is the epitome of the sophisticated charm of post-war Europe. In 1959, she already captivated the audience with her natural beauty and charisma on the screen. Someone took a picture of my 16-year-old grandfather at work. In 1934, he was named the youngest radio presenter in Australia. Robert Williams Wood, Max Planck, and Albert Einstein in the front row of the meeting of the Physical Society in Berlin on July 28, 1931. Soviet troops scrawled graffiti on the Reichstag after the capture of Berlin in 1945. The crew of the Japanese aircraft carrier Zuikaku shouts "Banzai" for the last time before the ship sinks. 1944. Mr. Wingfield tames animals in Empthill. A child sits on a saddled pig. 1914. A British warship returns to Dover and Zeebrugge after being damaged. 2 cats in the arms of naval officers. Their mascots. 1918. Miss K. Bateman with her family of Siamese cats at the Crystal Palace Club Cat Show, 1932. The twins from Llanderfell. They milk their cow every day to get milk for their cats. An elephant from American vaudeville rides a specially designed tricycle, 1918. A monkey dances Charleston with a couple of dancers, 1922. Girls in short shorts on a walk in 1937. Some of the last inhabitants of the Scottish island of St. Kilda near their homes. 1920. A Parisian woman on a walk with a dog. 1910. The Ross sisters, famous acrobats whose tricks still cannot be repeated. 1940. Portrait of a Samurai, 1860. A Mayan stone found at the end of the 19th century. This picture shows a Munich chimney sweep in post-war Germany. A figure both mundane and mystical. In 1950, when the country was still in ruins, his black top hat and rope ladder seemed like attributes from another time. This rare photo captures the moment before the start of a unique competition, a combined race of women and dogs. The year is 1927. Soviet and American soldiers hugging in Torgau. The year 1945. This striking image captures a classic Norwegian family of the early 20th century. 6 people with such identical facial features that it seems as if we are looking at the result of cloning. The year is 1910. An unexpected image of Soviet fatherhood. This picture shows a young father skillfully combining 3 important tasks: looking after a child in a stroller, intellectual leisure, and extreme recreation, sitting on the railing with a clear hint of hooliganism. An old black and white photograph, probably taken in the 1930s and 1940s. In the picture, a man in a classic shirt and trousers demonstrates something similar to a gymnastic exercise to a woman leaning forward. He puts his hands on her back, perhaps correcting her posture or helping her keep her balance. Salvador Dali and Coco Chanel. Neil Armstrong, the first man on the moon, swims in his spacesuit in the pool. 1967. A group of teenagers enjoying an ice cream soda. Iowa, 1945. Have you ever tried this? The selfie stick, 1934. A young couple and their Dodge decorated by their friends. Canada, 1940. Children playing with an open hydrant. New York, 1950s. The bomb shelter, London, 1940. A man removes a sign saying, "White men," following a federal court order prohibiting segregation, 1964. The weekly diet of two people, Great Britain, 1943. Boxing match aboard the USS Oregon, 1897. An ambulance from the First World War. Portrait of a British war veteran and his wife, circa 1855. Girl on a moped, New York, 1965. George Lucas and Frank Oz, Yoda, on the set of Star Wars, The Empire Strikes Back, 1980. Walt Disney and the Shadow of Mickey Mouse, 1939. Two Women on Mopeds, 1937. Liberation of Paris. American soldiers on the background of Notre Dame, August the 25th, 1944. Hollywood lion Fearless Fagan rides in the back seat of a convertible, 1951.